The ego has a distorted way of looking at and processing information, because the way the ego processes information is based on its limitations. It's based on what you have experienced in the past, not where you are now in the present. And so when you continuously hold on to the past, you stay stuck in the past. When you continuously are looking over your shoulder at who you used to be and your thought processes, your actions, the things that you were doing, you stay in that energy. And this is why Source is wanting us to understand that we create these patterns that we are in ourselves. We create the lack mindsets and the suffering and the unhappiness within ourselves, because you always have a choice to move beyond that. You always have a choice to tell yourself a different story. But if you're not allowing yourself to see that there is a different story in that moment, and to be honest, right, like, we don't always see it in the moment. Sometimes we have to step out of that moment. Sometimes we have to be shaken out of it in order to see that the ego is having a hold on you and that the ego is telling you a story that isn't actually true. And the ego would rather you be your old self because that's what the ego is familiar with. It's familiar with you being an older version of yourself. Your ego doesn't know what it looks like for you to be a newer version of you. Your ego has no clue what that looks like. That scares the ego. It creates fear. And then the ego just simply wants to protect you and keep you comfortable and keep you from getting hurt. So it will keep these certain thoughts looping in your mind. And as we know, your thoughts create your actions. And before you know it, you're falling back into patterns that you actually don't really want to be in. And it's because you are focusing more on whether you're conscious of it or unconsciously doing it. You're allowing your ego to be more present than your spiritual knowing. And I feel through this information that is coming through that this is why Source wants us to understand that it is us that creates our own suffering. It is us that creates and continues the cycles of sadness, of unhappiness, of being in lack, of worrying, of anxiety, of depression, of fear. These are the things that your mind tells you is happening. This is what your mind is perceiving the situations to be and telling your emotions to feel this way. But you innately don't feel this way. That's not who you are. You're taught to feel these types of emotions. So when you understand that a lot of the time you are doing it to yourself, because you always have the option to tell yourself a different story about what is happening. You always have the option to look at the brighter side of a situation, even though it may be something that is not bringing you the most joy. But what joy can you find in those moments? And so Source is saying that you have the ability, because only you can dig yourself out of your own holes. Only you have the power to do it. No one else can do it for you. No matter how much you want outside energies to save you, they cannot. You are having to save yourself. But guess what? You're capable of saving yourself. You are never a victim. It's a victim mentality that keeps these cycles and loops continuing. It's believing that the traumas are who you actually are when they're not. The traumas were simply an experience that your soul chose to have to teach you something, to ultimately push you into a growth state. And so when you take on your traumas as being who you are, and you allow your ego to continue to prove to you that this is who you are, you stay stuck in those cycles. This is how you create your own suffering. This is how those mind loops continue. But when you remember that Earth is a school, that you are your divine self, that nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you, that you are the creator and the manifester. And at any point, you can change how you perceive something. And through changing that perception, you change what has really occurred. Because, see, nothing is actually happening other than the present moment. But it's the human mind and the way this construct is constructed, this dimension is constructed to have us believe that our past is always following us. But at every moment, you are changing into a different version of yourself because you're moving in and out of timelines every second. And so the timeline that you're in right now is different from the timeline that you're in right now. You see? Because your consciousness is constantly moving from different timelines. And this is very deep esoteric knowledge, but this is a remembrance and information that you already have and store within you. And Source is wanting to bring this out of you because through bringing through this knowledge, you're able to remember your power. You're able to remember who you are, and that you're not just some human being that things are just happening to and you are just having to deal with whatever is happening. No, you are a creator. You are a soul. You are a divine spark of infinite light that never dies. It continues to expand and expand and expand constantly. And through this expansion, you are learning and growing and evolving as the soul that you are. And so some of you, this makes sense. And others, this may not make any sense at this moment, but that's okay. Because maybe it doesn't fully make sense now, but it will as you continue to do the work on yourself. And as you continue to remember that the only moment that is really true is the moment that is now, in this very moment. That's all that there is. There is no past. There is no future. There's only just this very moment. And when you allow yourself to be present, you allow yourself to be who you truly are, your authentic self, because you're not worried about what's going to happen and you're not worried about what has happened. You're just allowing yourself to simply be. And that is the space that Source is asking you to be in at this time, is simply be in the space of now, in the space of the present, in the space of who you really are. Because when you're there, you are not in the space of creating your own suffering. You're not in the place of worry or anxiety or hurt or pain or frustration or misunderstandings. You're not in those places because you are just focused on now. And Source is asking me to share with you part of my process of beginning to channeling, because this is something that we all have the ability to do. And part of that is through going into gratitude. Before I get into channeling, when I'm first communicating with Source and connecting so that I'm able to bring through these messages, is I get into a now present moment and I go into gratitude. And when you're in gratitude, which is the quickest way to raise your vibration, all you are focusing on is what's happening, is the moment, is of what you're able to be grateful for, which is the present. You see? And so when you practice gratitude, you shift your consciousness into the present moment. And so Source is asking you to practice gratitude more often and to be in a space where you are just focusing on what is happening at this very moment. You're bringing yourself back to the breath. You're being in your body. And you being in your body allows you to discover how you're feeling in the moment, where your emotions lie. How do you want to feel? And bringing that feeling to you through ushering in the higher vibrations that gratitude provides to you. And Source is asking you to do this more often. And through that, and becoming more heart-centered, you release the hold that the ego will have in any moment, and you recenter yourself and you bring yourself back to who you truly are. And you remember how powerful you are. You remember the love that you hold within your vessel, within your heart. You remember these things. And then it becomes easier for you to move past those moments of sadness, of hurt, of uncomfortability, of worry, of anxiety, of depression, of fear. And you know in those moments that you're safe. Because remember, it's only you that can bring about the safety for yourself. Just you. No one else. No one outside of you. Nothing outside of you can bring it to you. Only you. And so as we continue to practice more gratitude, be in the now present moment, we create from that space, which is something that I'm learning very deeply, like at this time, as I am transitioning and growing and evolving into a higher version of myself. The more present you are, the more balanced you are, the more you're in your divine nature and you're in you're truly in alignment with spirit, the easier it becomes to move through your day. Literally. It just becomes easier to just go about your day. And in the moments, and this is part of the self-regulation that Source has brought through multiple times in other messages, about like knowing how to like recenter ourselves when we realize like, okay, you know what, I'm upset about something right now. How do you calm yourself down? How do you get yourself back into a higher vibration? How do you do it? Because everything is about your vibration, and your experience is a reflection of where your vibrational frequency is. And so it's important that as we continue to move through these shifts, as the earth continues to ascend and we continue to up level in our consciousness, that we remember like how to bring ourselves back to center, how to bring ourselves back to the heart, to the breath, to the present, to the balance. So you can get out of the loops that you have been in, that you really don't want to be in, that your soul doesn't want you to be in. But it's this dimension. Like, it's not you. It's really just the dimension that you're in, that you chose to be in as well. And because you chose to be here, you already have all of the tools and everything within you to get through everything that you've experienced. Because everything that you have experienced has not just been a coincidence of happening. It's been something that is planned. It was planned. And you planned it to happen to you. So therefore, if you planned it, then you have the ability to get through it. You wouldn't have planned something for yourself that you were just going to get lost in the sauce in and never get through. So when you remember that, it helps you remember like, oh, okay, again, like I'm not a victim to my circumstances. Like I have chosen my obstacles because I have the ability to get through the obstacle. And then these obstacles have less power over you. They have less power over you. And you see it, it goes from being this huge, big monster to this small little itty bitty thing that you're like, okay, I can step over this, right? Like I can just step over this shit. Because it's small, it's not huge. But our perception and our ego can be like, oh my goodness, it's this huge, scary thing. Like you're not going to be able to do it. So you shouldn't even try. Don't, no, we know what happened. We know what happened before. We know what happened before. So let's not even go down this route because it'll happen again. Right? And this is how Source is saying that we create our own suffering. We stay in the cycles and we do it ourselves. Instead of looking at that thing and saying, you know what? Here is another opportunity for me to grow. Spirit is clearly putting this into my reality so I can get through it and show myself, be more confident in myself and excuse me, and give myself more love. Confirmation. Right? So this is why it's important for us to remember. Like, this is why we have to remember who we are. Your vibration is everything. Like, literally what's coming to me. Your vibration is everything. You are your vibration, and your vibration is you, and your vibration creates your existence because you are energy. You are not your human body. You are not this. You chose this. You chose all of this, everything. You chose it. But that's not who you are. Your energy, your soul. And so you get to choose whatever you want from here. So what do you want to experience? How do you want to feel? It's all about the feeling, the emotion of it. Because when your emotions are right, when your emotions are high vibing, you create your reality based on your emotions. Because of your actions and because of your thoughts and the way that you say and speak to yourself is all created by your emotion, your energy. So let's work on, we all have to work on this. I'm working on this constantly. Not creating our own suffering and being more aware of the moments where we slip into these little spirals so that we can bring ourselves out of the spiral through remembering who we are, through centering ourselves, through going into gratitude and being grateful for who we are, what we have in this present moment. And through that, we raise our vibration. Through that, we change our perspective. And through that, we then be able to see things in a different light, therefore create what we truly want to experience. So that's really what it is. Now, I just want to remind you all that I am here for you. Okay. I have one-on-one sessions, my hypnotherapy sessions. I will be offering, Spirit has been giving me some other ideas of ways in which I can help this collective. And so there's more to come. But right now, the focus is on healing your traumas, healing the belief systems, healing the things that are holding you back, the energies, releasing these lower vibrational frequencies that you are storing within your vessel. And this is what I'm able to help you with through my one-on-one spiritual hypnotherapy sessions. And so I hold space for you as you work to heal yourself so that you can accelerate your path in your path. And you can accelerate where spirit truly wants you to go. So tap in with me. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, email me, send me a DM on IG. I'm here to support this collective. And so tap in to what you're being offered in front of you through your resonance, right? I love you so much. Thank you for showing up again for yourself today. Thank you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow in the next channeled message. Peace, y'all.